How's it going, everyone? And welcome to a special solo series of Wealth Strategy Secrets of the Ultra Wealthy. I'm your host, Dave Wolcott. We get a lot of the same questions from our investors about infinite banking, tax efficiency, asset protection, strategy stacking, and how to actually build wealth outside of Wall Street. And we get it. We know you're busy. So in this series, I'm breaking down complex wealth strategy topics into short, tactical episodes that you can actually use to build legacy wealth. Whether you're just starting your journey or fine-tuning your portfolio, these episodes are designed to give you high-impact insights in just a few minutes. So let's dive in.
Share with us, what do you mean when you're saying passive income strategy versus accumulation strategy? And why do you focus on passive income over accumulation? And what are a few things you're going to be talking about at the event to drill in a little bit more on how to move from one strategy to the other?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there's a very fundamental difference, right? And traditional financial planning really talks about this accumulation theory, which is saving up enough for this nest egg that you hit retirement, and then you start to withdraw that maybe at a rate of 4% a year, and then you hope you don't outlive your money. Okay, so this is very different than passive income theory, which is essentially focusing much more instead of on net worth, but is focused on cash flow. So regardless of what age you are, whether you're 65, 75, or 25, right? How much income do you actually have that's coming to you passively, where you don't have to trade your time for money, right? For that income to actually come in. So, people like Kiyosaki, right, as we know, really talk about that as one of the, strategic things that we should be focused on today, which is income, right, versus actually having some type of large net worth number. Because, again, think about it. Steve Jobs actually had all the wealth in the world, right, but he couldn't buy himself another year or another day even, right? So rather than being concentrated on that number, which frankly, I don't even believe in the word retirement anyway, because that really comes from the manufacturing era, right? When people just got tired and you put something out for retirement. But if you actually have freedom of purpose, you love what you're doing, then why would you stop doing that? Right. So there are very fundamental differences. And what's interesting is these paradigms that we kind of live under, and retirement is really a big one, right? And it's tied to this financial construct of saving this money towards this time. But if you can make that paradigm shift towards passive income, right? And be thinking about how can I be living actually my fullest, biggest life today, right? That's a massive shift for someone, right? In terms of mindset versus being at some job and I've just got to slug it out for another 15 years till I can get to retirement. Well, what if you had enough passive income today that you could actually have the freedom of time to be doing whatever you wanted? You have the freedom of purpose to wake up every day and be motivated and fascinated by the work that you're doing. It's very different.
Yeah. So something I know you're going to be talking a lot about at the event, and a big theme of the event is passive income, because in order to have longevity and to be able to have, financial freedom, live long, live well, and have the financial freedom to do both, it's all built off of passive income. And so therefore longevity equals passive income. As far as the money piece of what we're going to be really drilling into the last weekend of September. This word passive income, though, Dave, is that I think it's really misunderstood because, again, I have people calling me or writing into my show or writing into my socials, however they try to connect with me, saying, Christina, I want passive income. How do I create it? Like they can create it tomorrow, and that they just need to go create passive income. And it's just, I find it interesting that that's kind of the takeaway, that way so many people think of passive income, that is that easy and that fast. And if they just found the right thing, they could have it, or do the right thing and have it. And I don't know, passive income hasn't worked that way for me. But then, what I've seen advertised through mostly social channels these days, but I'll see posts that say 20 ways to create passive income, Airbnb, a YouTube channel, an Amazon store. They're listing all these things as passive income. And I just want to say that that's business income. There is nothing passive about that. Maybe one day it can become passive if you build a structure that can be so automated it pushes off that mailbox money in the future. But it's going to take years of work to get to any of those things to be even remotely passive. But those are businesses. That's not passive income. So when you say, from my experience, so when you say passive income, can you create a passive income myth, like what people believe to be true about passive income, and maybe bust that myth, and then two, just share with us maybe a few things at the event you're going to be teaching us about how to create true passive income.
Yeah, really great point, right? And I think that it's really the nirvana, right? That a lot of us are seeking, right? We're seeking that passive income. But, what I challenge people to do is actually think deeper. Start asking the question, why, until you can't go any deeper. So for example, if I was to give you $1 billion today, Christina, how would that materially impact your life? Would you travel around the world for a year? Would you take time off of work that you're doing to maybe spend with your family for a year? Would you create a charity, right? What is it that you're actually looking for and you feel that money is actually holding you back, right? So it's really interesting, right? This psychology of all this. And I believe that 80% of investing and being an entrepreneur, all of this is about mindset. Right. So you really need to understand, again, that vision at a very, very deep level for yourself. What are you actually looking for? So I think that some people are looking for passive income because they're trying to escape a job that they don't really like. Right. So if that's really the challenge and you understand that that is truly the problem, there could be other ways to tackle it. A lot of those things that you listed off are active income, such as real estate. We all think that real estate is passive, but if you shift to the active, it's just as busy as any other job that's out there, right? However, I believe that we talked about freedom of money earlier. And again, I think the essence of what most people, especially if you're entrepreneurial oriented, is that you're looking for freedom, not only freedom of money, but that freedom of purpose, freedom of time, freedom of location, freedom of relationships to choose who you actually want to spend your time with, right? So if we now actually have freedom, take aside passive income for a second, and I have freedom of purpose, now I'm not tied to that job. I'm doing something that's really exciting in my life, and it doesn't feel like work. And why would I stop at 65? Or maybe you want freedom of time because you do want to travel the world for a year with your family. And that's fantastic, right? I mean, what an amazing opportunity. So surprisingly, once you can get your finger on that, it might be a lot easier to achieve than you ever even thought. Interestingly enough, it might not even involve money, right? So one thing could be maybe improving, the quality of your relationship. So for instance, I have some aging parents right now. And I know as part of my goal, part of my vision, I keep thinking, hey, I want to spend more time with them. I want to be, have more quality time in their later years. It doesn't really take much more money than a plane ticket, right? But it involves me being intentional on what I actually want to do. So I challenge people out there to really start to do some deep thinking. And this is the hard work, Christina, right? Because we live in this world we're so reactionary, right? There's social media, all of these things in front of your face all the time, or we're reacting to different things, but we're not being intentional about the life that we want to live. So once you have clarity on that, you can understand understand, okay, now how can I use these cool strategies and tactics, to get there much faster? And by the way, you're going to get there a lot faster, not just because, yes, we have tons of really cool, like investing tactics and strategies most people don't understand or know of, but you're going to be able to break through walls because you had the mental clarity to be able to do that.
Right on. And I think what I hear you saying there is that we make so much about the money versus it's what's underneath the money, the why, the purpose, what you would do with the money if you had it, and spend the time to get real clarity on the whys versus just focusing, thinking more money means it solves more problems or will make me happy but again, it's just the focus on the money as opposed to money just being a byproduct of good purpose and then being able to use that money to underwrite a good life that you've defined.
Yeah, and Christina, let's tie this back into your earlier question, Rich, which is, really what I love what you're doing here, right? Is you're tying this piece around, longevity, regenerative, medicine, and all of these advancements that are here today with wealth, right? And this is why I view wealth is being very holistic in nature and covering those 6 forms of capital, not just financial capital. One of those is physical capital. But here's another interesting component, right? Part of it is intellectual capital. So just like wealth, and in fact, it's such a parallel to health. The people who understand that, I've done stem cells, for instance, on my knees. I'm doing a lot of advanced regenerative technologies, but it's only because, number one, I have the knowledge. So I spend my time learning. I read Peter Diamandis, all of these folks, right, about longevity around the technologies that are there. And then I have the mindset to actually invest in those things for myself to improve my quality of life today, because it's not only, a lifespan, right, but it's also health span, because I want to have vitality today. Just think about it. If you have 10x the energy, and you bring that to your family, your business, your relationships, what does that mean to you? I mean, that's massive, right? So that's why I focus on my health. I spend tons of money on my health with a lot of these things, and I'm seeing the differences. And now I can be so much more, present and mindful with my relationships and the things that really matter to me.
Thanks for tuning in to our special solo series. If this episode sparked something for you and you're ready to learn more, head over to holisticwealthstrategy.com and download a free copy of my book. You'll also get access to our investor community where we share exclusive educational content, new opportunities, and resources designed to help you accelerate your path to freedom. And if you want to take it even further, book a call with our team to learn about our virtual family office services or join our Mastermind group where we go deep into building true generational wealth. I'll see you on the next episode.